YouTube, what it is. That's the view I'm seeing this morning. It's 8 o'clock my time over here on the mountainside. It's probably about 10, 11 o'clock over there on the East Coast. Man, looky here, y'all. I had an interesting night last night. Let me clean this camera. Hold on a second. Had an interesting night last night, y'all. Boy, this view is great. I had an interesting night last night. Let me tell you guys something. I had a slight breakdown slash situation. It wasn't really a breakdown, but it could have potentially been a headache. So what happened was, and I'm sorry guys, I'm literally like just really waking up. I'm getting ready to make my coffee. But yeah, I was gonna do some work on my heater. It was about say 7:30, 8 o'clock my time, and I was lift up the bunk. I put a diesel heater in here probably about 2 years ago now, a year and a half, 2 years at least 2 years ago, because I did it when I was at Landstar, so at least 2 years it's been in the truck. And the end of last year, it's an aluminum vent tube that goes on the vent that just went bad, it deteriorated because it was too short. So what was causing it to happen was, I got the old piece over here as a matter of fact. You see this? It was causing this to just pretty much burn out because this is how short it was from the heater. So it was building up a lot of heat in this section. So what I ended up doing is I had to really move the heater and give it some more tube space so that the heat could travel a little bit more. But nonetheless, I had to go under the bunk, do all that. And for those of you who don't have a heater in your truck for the wintertime, I advise you to go and at least get you a diesel heater and put it in, because I mean it's game changing. And the diesel heaters are also what comes with the APU. A lot of times when you buy an APU or a truck with the APU, will have a diesel heater on it, but you can buy a separate diesel heater and put it in yourself without an APU. You don't need an APU to run it. So I'm gonna show you guys real quick what it looks like. There's the vent to the diesel heater, this one right here, and then I'm gonna show you under the bunk. All right, there's the heater. You see the new tube. So basically I had to just make it longer. But I had to reposition the diesel heater because the heater didn't used to sit facing this way. It used to go straight up and down, and that was the problem. So I just had to kind of twist it and reposition it. Got that out the way. So what was crazy was I had to go up under the truck and reposition the exhaust lines and things like that, make sure everything was still in a good position under there, so everything would be good when I mounted everything back down. No problem. Matter of fact, the issue wasn't even with the heater at all. So while I was up under there, I always look at everything under there, I always just look up under my truck when I'm under it. And I noticed I had some oil, just a little bit more oil towards the rear in the transmission area than I thought should have been there. And then the other thing is, it was more golden. I already had a little bit. I know I got an oil leak, and I think the oil leak was coming from the oil pan. And I've been noticing that since they did my pickup tubes. When I had that oil issue, if you guys remember, I've been having that leak, and I think it's the oil pan. So when I get back, I'm going to change the oil pan myself. And if that's not it, then the only other thing it can be is the front seal. And I'll just go ahead and change the front seal. But nonetheless, ironically, I was at the gas station yesterday, fuel station, the Pilot. Actually, when I shot that video, the last video I shot, I was at that same Pilot. And when I was filling up for fuel, I always go around my truck and check, under the truck, because I know I had that slight oil leak. I noticed then, I looked at one of the spots and I said, man, this spot looks lighter than the other spots. The oil itself looked lighter. So, the diesel oil is black, but this oil was light. And I saw, and I looked under there, and I said, okay, this is coming from, that's transmission fluid, basically. So I knew that was a new leak. It had to be a new leak, because I didn't have any transmission leaks. So when I got back, to bring you guys back up to speed, while I was under there with the heater, I really saw it again, and I was like, you know what? I need to figure out where this is coming from. Man, I had a line that had rubbed the hole off of a stud. I took the stud out of the transmission. See that? And this is from where the line vibrating. See that? And it rubbed a hole, a teeny hole in the line, and it was dripping. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Funny thing is, I replaced, it has two lines that go into the transmission, and I think they run all the way up to a cooler or something up front. I can't remember, but I replaced one of those lines, and I want to say it was around the time I did the radiator. And I don't know if it's that one or not. It was the top or the low one, the lower one. I don't remember which one, but I replaced one of those lines. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And the problem is, here, see, there was a bracket that holds the lines together, and they attached to that stud I just showed you guys. And that stud, when I changed the line, the bracket itself was broke. So I never put it back on. I just left it dangling there. My mistake. I can admit it. That was my mistake. So I just left the lines dangling, and eventually they dangled itself close enough to that stud. Right, it just right close enough to that stud. So all that time it had been rubbing, going down the road, just rubbing, till it rubbed the hole, almost like you just took a needle and pinched your finger, and it was dripping. So I was like, you know what? I got to take care of this, because, I'm losing my gear oil, pretty much. So I was able to clean it up and patch it. But what makes the story interesting, guys, get on with it, is that 2 days before that, maybe 3 days before that, I was at another truck stop, and I went to get something to eat, parked the truck, and I was walking between the trailer, going towards the back of the trailer, towards the the truck stop, the store part of the truck stop. And walking back through there, I seen this piece of rubber laying on the ground, and I was like, I'm like, that rubber looks familiar. As I'm walking up close to it, and I knew it wasn't mine, and it didn't come from me, because I had just parked the truck in that spot. And I'm walking up to it, and I'm like, I've seen this rubber before. And then immediately it dawned on me what it was. It's a piece of rubber that goes around a thermos, and it's a particular thermos that it goes on. How I know? Because I have one. I'm gonna show you. See this rubber? This is a piece of rubber that goes around the thermos. This rubber always comes off, and I thought somebody lost their rubber, because mine used to come off. And when I first got it, I said, I'm gonna fix this right now before this happens again. And I've got some Gorilla Glue and Gorilla glued it all the way around, and Never had a problem with it anymore because mine used to come off. And, you know, I didn't want it to be scratching up nothing, so I went ahead and fixed it. Sure enough, that's what it was. Here it is. Here's the rubber. So, this is what fixed my truck last night. I ended up cutting a piece of this right there, wrapping it around a hole like a band-aid over the metal pipe because it rubbed in the metal pipe. That line is metal, it's rubber and metal. So I wrapped that around there. I had a teeny hose clamp and I tightened it all the way down, and that eliminated the leak. Who would have thought, me just seeing that on the ground? Some higher powers up there, man. And so now that'll hold probably indefinitely. But when I get back, I'm going to weld it because it's so tiny. It's real tiny. I just caught it in time before it got real big. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up when I get back again, and I'm going to aluminum braze weld it. And I'm gonna do that myself because I can do that. So I'm gonna do that, and that'll eliminate that line because that line was a pain in the butt to change, and I don't want to change it. So if you guys want to see it, I'll go ahead and take you out the truck and look at it. I can't stress enough that you gotta constantly be paying attention to your truck. You know, you gotta constantly be looking at your truck and doing that pre-trip, man, because like I said, I caught that first initial oil yesterday at the fueling station, and I saw that golden color, and it's crazy that I even noticed it because like I said, I got oil drops down there along with those oil drops. So why I noticed that in the midst of all that other oil is a testament of how well I pay attention to my truck. Because somebody else probably looked at it and be like, oh, that's just oil, and they already got an oil leak, so they wouldn't have paid it no mind. But I always look because I want to make sure that the oil pattern stays the same. That's another thing. I know it's leaking, and I know how it comes out, and I know where it should be. And if it starts being somewhere it shouldn't be, or somewhere else, or it's pouring out a little more than usual, then I know, you know, I need to really start getting focused. So pre-trips are, you know, essential, just like post-trips, you know, and also, you know, before you're going out, and then when you're shutting down, and you just gotta do it. It'll save you in the long run. All right, y'all, I just wanted to share that. I just thought that was crazy how that rubber, man, when you see stuff laying around sometimes and you see it on the ground and it catches your attention, man, sometimes you better pick it up because you never know. It might save your butt. It's your boy QDZ, double easy, double eyes. How about you, driver? I'm out.